Hello, you're listening to Goddess of Queens Presents A New Voice in Music, a monthly show where we explore conversations around music, culture, and what we can do to make life more inclusive. We are a community who has built a platform which focuses on music and education to bring people together. Subscribe now to be a part of something that we can all believe in, and follow us at Goddess of Queens Music for more. In this episode, we are joined by Cece Wyldeck and Sergio Roberts from MassiveMusic, an international creative music agency, and they share their thoughts on music, transparency, and vulnerability at work. Hi, I'm Maxine Penny. My pronouns are she, her. So thank you for joining today. We have two great guests, Cece.
Hello there.
Oh, sexy voice. And Sergio.
Hi.
Hi, also sexy. And today we're going to talk about music, transparency and vulnerability at work. Some really great subjects. I've brought them here together to listen and learn about their life stories, and we hope to share some nuggets of wisdom for you to take away and marinate on, and maybe even add them to your daily life. So you two work at MassiveMusic, which is fantastic. We're going to dive in and talk a bit more about that later. I'm really excited to have a discussion with both of you today about growth mindsets and how we as individuals can make small changes to our lives that make big changes around the world. And we want to bring everyone together to understand that we all have our own perspectives, experiences, and the way that we view the world. And yet underneath, all we want is the same thing, right? So love, compassion, kindness. So why is it so hard sometimes for us to receive it or to give it? So I'm going to dive in. Tell us a bit more about yourselves, what you do, where you're based, and why you wanted to talk about music and transparency and vulnerability at work. Cece, I'm going to pick on you first.
I'm Cece. I am the director of creative development at MassiveMusic in Amsterdam. I've been here for about 7.5 years now, and music for me has just been, I think, the leading factor in everything I've ever done. From when I was 10, I was in the Covent Garden Royal Opera of Othello for a whole run. Very gutsy young little singer. And then moving into songwriting from a very young age, and everything that I've ever done has just been revolved around music.
I love that. That's amazing. I love to know these things about you. I'm learning more and more about everyone during these conversations. Sergio.
Yeah. Hi. So I'm Sergio. I recently started as a new creative development manager at Massive in Cece's team, under her wings. To be honest, I don't have a memory not knowing that I needed to make music. Like literally, that's my earliest memory. And the thing is, like, I've always sang, like if it's like, with acquaintances or friends of mine that play instruments, and we do like covers and stuff in bars or whatever. I've always done that, but like I ended up making music professionally like the past 7 years, which is, that's just, it feels correct, of course, and also then now finding myself working in music as well. It's so fulfilling, and it's like this, the puzzle pieces just all fell in the right place,
I love that. That's what it should be about, right? My journey into music was a little bit different. So my parents were always playing music, always buying records, vinyls. And, I grew up in a really small town in the UK, and it was like rock music, thrash metal. And then when I moved into London, it was hip hop and R&B. And when I moved to Amsterdam, but actually the playing of instruments, I played the piano when I was younger, and now I'm going back at 43 to learn how to play the piano again, singing lessons. So I think it's really important to like have music in your life, because it just, as we'll talk about it a bit later, it sort of brings up a lot of emotions and memories. So we wanted to talk about something that's also very important, transparency and vulnerability at work. Can you tell us a bit more about that as you work together? Either which one. Sergio, but maybe as a new starter, yeah, how's it for you?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think transparency is needed from the get-go anyway, just to, for all parties to know where to move forward from. I mean, otherwise you're shooting yourself in your foot, right, in your own foot. So transparency is the thing that is, for me personally, generally actually in life, I want to be as transparent as possible. So my reaction doesn't come as a shock. No, but when it comes to music, especially like in the field that we work in, we build relationships with people. So if you don't have a foundation where you could trust each other off of, then it's not going to be steady.
Yeah, for me, the team we have at Massive and the team that I've helped build, including Sergio here. It's like an extension of the band that I used to have, so it's about creating a trusting space for everybody to flourish and blossom and grow. And, just what you said, trusting each other, creating that safe environment so that people can be authentically themselves and feel encouraged and go out there to build these relationships with our clients and build those trusting relationships so that they know and can trust us in our voice and our vision in regards to music. So for me, our team is a band,
I love that. I hope everyone takes that on, because actually you have to have so much trust in a band, right? So if the drummer's playing and someone's singing or playing the guitar, I'm thinking of that type of band, but you have to look at each other and feel each other and be vulnerable with each other. And I think, I've worked in both corporate and creatives. Do you think it's the agency? How do you create that culture of a band? Is it because of the music passion that you love?
Yeah, I mean, it's a creative space. Everyone at Massive is also hired because there is a music red thread that runs through their veins. Like, that's kind of the thing that ties us all together. And without that, we aren't able to create the music that we create, because it becomes from such an honest and vulnerable place, I think, most of the time. Even if it is from a brief from a corporate client, we try to embed our humanness and our authentic musical selves into every piece that we make.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask, actually, how does that work with clients who come in from the outside? You said that you build relationships. How do you get them to be vulnerable?
Well, I mean, I guess it all comes down to your approach, being personable with people and having that connection with them, which is authentic, kind of like, lowers the barriers. So to make people feel comfortable, to make them feel safe, without putting up a front by doing that, it causes people to open up more. And to, therefore, when you also know what you're talking about, to trust you in that sense enough to continue on in that relationship and build on it.
Yeah, so you set the pace and then the people follow. So you create that environment of safety, and then people are more willing to be open about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice. Cece, as part of the creative development team at MassiveMusic, can you share insights into your role and how it contributes to the power of music in advertising and branding?
Yeah, I think maybe I'm going to repeat myself here, but because we are also all musicians of some sort, whether it's singers, instrumentalists, DJs, especially everyone on the team. Sergio's an incredible artist and singer. I'm a songwriter and a singer. Quentin on the team is also an artist in his own right, and Mallory is a DJ. We have that authoritative voice on music because our perspective comes from within, comes from within the music sphere. And as the creative development team, our role is to build relationships and try to find opportunity to collaborate with the industry. We are the bridge between the agencies and the directors and creatives and our amazing team at MassiveMusic. And because of our background in music, we have that authoritative voice to be able to guide our clients in the value of music. I mean, it's the most emotional creative outlet I believe there is, because just by hearing something, it can create a visceral reaction within you. So whether it's something you need to make, you want to build empathy with your campaign for a certain cause, or you want to build excitement over a certain product, or, it's got such a strong emotional value. And because we are all musicians and create that vulnerable space for each other to explore, those talents, I feel like, we're the best people to create that connection and that change.
Yeah, amazing. Beautiful. Sergio, how have you been vulnerable in your project so far? Have you had an experience or?
Well, I mean, being vulnerable, I see that, I kind of like also connect that to creativity, because that allows me the room and the space to be able to thrive and play, frolic in that playground of endless possibilities, so to say. So I think being vulnerable is being creative and unapologetically being yourself as well at the same time. So I guess, working on a project recently that I did a little write-up for, and, worked that out to a sonic interpretation, I was super proud of myself for that, because that actually pushed me in a way that it's not like I didn't expect that I could do that, but it was more of a case that I just validated, I gave myself validation in a certain way by allowing myself the freedom to be able to approach it like that.
Yeah, and I think as songwriters, both of us, we're used to writing about music from almost a diary perspective. It's something that we're explaining our own feelings about certain matters of love and life. And so when we're now asked to communicate music to people who maybe aren't musicians, it's not about writing in the way we know. So it's also still a new evolution of us as musicians, is writing about music in a way that people who are not musicians to understand.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that before. That's really inspiring, that to be creative, you have to be vulnerable. We just did the vocal warm-ups and, we're making faces and, but it felt natural because, you just have to sort of throw yourself into the process. And as you said, Cece, that's really amazing to think that you make music for people that might not necessarily know the ins and outs of it, but actually it's a diary, it's a vulnerability that you're sharing, and to let that be heard by others is actually an act of bravery. Tell me a bit more about a specific moment in your career where you've witnessed the unifying power of music in a profound way.
I think the one that comes to mind just instantly is a project we did pre-COVID for the charity Amsterdam, and this works with sufferers of dementia. And we went to the homes where the residents were and did kind of interviews and intakes with each of the residents about their past lives, where they hung out as teenagers, which kind of clubs or dance halls they went to, if they played instruments, favorite artists of their time that they admire. And from those we built bespoke playlists for each individual residence, so that any time that there was, maybe long periods of detachment and monosyllabic behavior, that they would play the playlists at the homes, and then suddenly these patients would just come to life and would be starting engaging with each other, with their family members, dancing. Maybe there was this one guy who was just playing piano, and he hadn't played the piano in like 30 years or something, and suddenly he remembered this whole tune. It was just absolutely beautiful, and it really, for me, was a really important project because my grandmother suffered from dementia, and I wish that we had something like this at the time when we were losing her, because it would have just brought so much joy in the last moments of her life. So for me, that really shows the power of music and how it can reignite memories, it can reignite passion, and just bring just someone who feels like maybe a lost version of themselves just back to who they were.
That is beautiful. Very emotional. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have actually a slightly different approach to this question, because I was with my good friend who kind of supported us on the guitar and did vocals as well. But I wanted this one solo song, and we were in, it was a very cozy bar in Utrecht. And I mean, it was a Sunday. So it was, like really that cozy vibe, but it was pretty, it was fairly busy for that time of day and for that day as well. But throughout like the other songs that I was singing, people were still like having conversations, because there was also a birthday party there and stuff. And I was coming to this one song that I covered from Matt Corby, an Australian music artist who's absolutely amazing. And I did my rendition of his song Brother. And I mean, that song spoke to me anyway, like in so many ways. And it's so crazy, because I was performing it, and people were like doing their business, talking, laughing, whatever. And at a certain point, I came to the bridge of the song. Only at that point, because it's a really small, intimate, very tender part of the song. So when I got to that part, I became conscious. So meaning that before that, I was absolutely lost in the song. And I'm not even kidding you. I was like so intertwined in the music that I've never even felt that one with music as in that moment ever before. So when I actually came to in that bridge, I looked around, and the whole bar was like quiet, and everybody stood in a huge half circle with their arms linked, like just listening. And it was so quiet. And I was like, I didn't even know this was happening. So, having that moment that I lost myself in music and being true to that moment caused the whole situation actually, and the whole situation to change and to adapt to that moment as well. So that was for me like the power of music actually.
Actually, I've got a little exercise for you both and for the people listening. You can grab a piece of paper if you're at home and write these 5 things down. And at the end, we will reveal to you, or you will reveal we will reveal to you, or you will reveal to yourself what your life purpose is. So everyone at home, you can do it. Here we go. What's your name? What do you love to do? So that could be anything. What do you feel like you feel supremely qualified to teach people? It could be talking, it could be writing code, it could be teaching, it could be music. Who do you do it for? Picture them in your mind. You don't have to say it out loud. What do these people want or need? And why do they come to you specifically? What do they need from you? And how do they change as a result of what you've given them? And the reason why I'm asking this is because I did this exercise. It was by a TED Talk, Adam Leipzig, and it changed my life. I always associated my life purpose with work and never felt good enough, because I never really knew what I wanted to do. I've tried so many things, which I'm really proud of as well. You can learn from failure. You can learn from trying new things. Some out of naivety and some out of months and years of thinking about what I want to do. Anyway, I would love to ask both of you, because maybe it ties into music, because you've been talking so much about your passion. Yes. Do you know your life's purpose? Cece, what was your idea of life purpose?
I think it's definitely changed over the years. At first, my life's purpose was music. And even though it plays a huge role in my life, it's definitely changed since I've I've got a family now, a loving partner and a beautiful daughter. Love has also played a huge role in my life, because pretty much all my songs were about love in some form or another, whether it was good but love or bad love. So that was a huge part. So yeah, when I was initially thinking about this question, I always thought I'm a connector. I'm a social butterfly. I love to connect people. But when you just read it out now, and I was answering those questions in my head, I was like, yeah, I think love is the reason why I'm here. I do things for my family. I do them so that they can flourish and be who they are, and we can grow and evolve together. So I think love is probably my life purpose.
I love I love that. Thank you for sharing. Sergio, did it inspire anything in you? What's your life purpose? Tell us.
Well, I mean, a lot of what Cece said also resonates with me. Like, for instance, the aspect of writing about love, or normally in my case, lack of love. No, but, as a, like, writing, like, translating my vision based off of my impressions from, my upbringing, culture, pop culture, media, stories and things that people around me that I care about have experienced, and kind of like combining all of that to remind people that, we're all in this together. And it might sound kind of like a sappy story, but like love is that thing, and that recognition of it is so important for me to be able to remind people of and connect people with, actually, with my music.
And love comes in so many different forms. It doesn't have to be so obvious as like that you're in a relationship. It comes also from love and kindness from others, from experiencing the love and warmth of music, of food. I love food.
Yes.
Love also is food for me, So it comes in so many different forms, and it doesn't have to be so black and white.
I agree with that. I mean, I was just thinking when Sergio was talking that I had these playlists when I was younger, in my early 20s, and I would listen back and I'd think, oh my God, I was so sad because they were all about love and this kind of lack of love. Actually, now in my 40s, as you said, Cece, I really believe in like that friendship, that community. The love that we give ourselves is so important, and the love that we give out, and just being appreciative and grateful that we can support each other and love each other, and that's what we need in the world right now. And talking about that, we love to bring people together through music. So I have some more questions for you shaped around music. How has music shaped and influenced different aspects of your life, emotions or memories?
Like sometimes when you have like you smell a certain scent and it could like teleport you back to this moment. Like I think what I find beautiful with music is that it reminds you of a feeling that you forgot you've ever felt. That it could do that and like bring you back to this place that is so not tangible, but it feels so close and so comforting sometimes. Yeah, it really is. Really, I find it so cool. Like, and I actually really do try to implement that in my own music, because that's what, for me, is like the binding factor of music. So, like when I just mentioned that we're all in it together and finding that common ground. I think that like me personally, like my life's mission is actually to be able to give that a platform and to achieve that through storytelling, and not only in words, but in music and melody as well.
It is storytelling. You do get swept along with those emotions. Sometimes if I'm cycling, I can feel like some music is like the soundtrack to my life. I could be in a movie going over a bridge and sort of looking out at the water and feeling all right with the world, no matter what's going on in the world sometimes. Cece, how does music affect your emotions, lives, memories? Tell us a moment that you might have had.
Oh yeah, me and Sergio were talking about this question yesterday, and the one that came to mind straight away, and I haven't thought about this moment since it happened actually, was I was at Banquet Records, got to be like, I don't know, when the band Police came out. I was in Banquet Records in East London, and they were doing a in-store gig, and I was obsessed with their first album that came out, and they did this in-store show, and they had their two drummers on stage who play in unison, which is mind-blowing to see live. And they played one of their songs that really affected me, and I just stood there crying. I just instantly started crying and bawled my eyes out. And when I went to approach them at the end, saying like, just this song and this album just really touched me. I just couldn't even speak properly and just looked like a total fool. But it's like that for me, just the power of someone writing something that also came from a painful place. His album's quite a painful album. I think it's even about her divorce. Just that someone can write something from a very painful, vulnerable place for themselves, and it can, it can reach and touch other people in such a emotional, visceral way. For me, it's still just music is everything.
Yes. I mean, you both write music, as you've said. How do you approach writing lyrics to meaningful connections, to create a meaningful connection? You said earlier something about contributing to the message of the song, that the theme always comes out. Can you tell us a bit more about how you write your lyrics, or how you even start?
Yeah, I mean, I never go pen to paper or with my guitar with an idea in mind. Normally it starts with some chords and some music, and then I just start singing. And then as the song develops and grows, the subject matter just kind of appears. And then when I get to the end, I'm like, oh my God, this is about this moment in my life, or about this person, or about this feeling that I had. So it just kind of appears magically. It's the way I write songs is magic.
I hear Cece in that. My approach is slightly different, even though I understand where she's coming from. It's more of a case that let's just say, for the sake of the story, that I don't play an instrument. So normally when I write music, it's together with like a producer, so to say. And I'm not one to like beforehand write lyrics and then go into a session. I want to be influenced by the vibe. I mean, you feel different every day, So like, how are we feeling today? What's the vibe? What's the energy? And go forth from that. Maybe there's like a reference track that we would like to use to have certain examples from, like, for a beat or a rhythm or a tempo or something. But eventually I, based off of, the vibe of the mood that we're building, I fabricate like a world around me. So I build a world based off of that vibe, and actually I really try to picture everything around me, and then I write about that and how scenarios or situations can unfold. And the thing is, like, by doing this, I kind of stay true to not just like off the cuff writing something that just comes up in my mind, but I visualize something and try and write about that. And why that works for me is because I really I find it so important to, talk about the beauty in the mundane. Yes. The beauty in simplicity. And so to fabricate this world around me and write specifically about what's happening, what I see, but in like a metaphorical way, almost sometimes a little bit like cryptic. It gives it more of an edge, and it makes it a little bit more interesting to not be like, I love lamp.
I'm picturing it now. Yeah. I'm visualizing it now. I'm in the room with you. Yeah. So beyond entertainment, you mentioned that sometimes you write to relieve things on the page. So in what ways do you believe music contributes to individuals' emotional well-being and mental health?
I mean, from a writer's perspective, for my own mental health, especially way back when I was actively writing every day, that was a form of therapy. That's the way I dealt with anything that was going on in my life. Wasn't the greatest communicator, was quite an recluse when it came to my emotional state, so I wouldn't ever tell on anyone that I was feeling a certain way or feeling anxious or scared. I would just go to my guitar, I would go to my pen and paper, and I would write. And that for me was my therapeutic process of dealing with all the emotions and all the things I was going through. And that from a personal level, and from an outward perspective, I think it also has the same effect. People who are suffering from any kind of life issues, mental issues, revert to music that touches them from a level that maybe other just everyday humans can't, because it's again a magical place, a safe space for them to be but vulnerable on their own, and have someone that's maybe experiencing something similar they're going through, and that it can help heal and help give a platform for them to maybe then speak out.
Yeah, and even if you're not a lyricist, I think for me, I always write things out for my mental health. You know, it doesn't matter if you're going to send that letter. You know, you can practice acts of forgiveness. You can, you know, write things down that are going around and around in your head sometimes, and it just formulates things. Maybe even some people might find that they become writers out there, or, you know, maybe they will write a song. You know, that again is that being vulnerable in that creative process.
And nowadays it's a part of messaging. You know, people are sharing music and sharing content with certain songs, so it's a way of people letting others know where maybe they stand emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as creatives, having that, you know, instrument of self-expression is so needed, and it might be a little bit stereotypical to say so, but I, you know, even knowing it, when I was confronted with it, it was even, you know, more clear to me how voicing myself, pun intended, but like how voicing myself in music allows me to deal and cope with, you know, not only struggles, but just like, you know, different phases in life and different things in life. For instance, like a few years back, I had COVID, and I had problems with my voice, and every week my voice just like deteriorated and just like got worse and worse, to the point that I needed to be operated on my vocal cords. But the thing is, like, I mean, there's never a good moment for that to happen, of course, right? But it just came at the worst possible moment, because I was like mentally and emotionally not doing well at that time. I was like in a really dark place. So also to not be able to express myself, you know, like I don't only sing in the studio. I sing when I am riding the bike. I sing when I'm walking to the fridge. It's just something that I naturally, automatically do without even thinking about it. So not having this way out, so to say, not having this possibility of self-expression, it just caused me to, like, you know, spiral, actually. So at the point that I had my operation, and I got my voice back to, you know, like through speech therapy and stuff, everything became so much more lighter. So that for me was so confronting, that I don't only love music, I need music.
Yes, I mean, that must have been so frustrating and quite traumatic to lose your instrument that you express yourself through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, thanks for sharing. And looking ahead, how do you envision the future of music playing a role in fostering unity and connection on a global scale? I think that's quite an important question at the moment. The world is quite a tough place. How do you envision, the future of music playing a role in fostering that community or connection?
Well, I mean, I think in a lot of ways, not only with music, but also with music, that having the relevance of cultural connection and understanding and empathy, and just, you know, in that sense being transparent as well, allows us to be able to understand each other more, and to have more of an insight in each other's worlds, because, you know, ignorance is fear. Ignorance causes fear. So to kind of, I don't want to say take out ignorance, but to give another perspective in somebody's life and their experiences and their culture and their religion through music allows us to, you know, have a little step towards each other.
Yeah, share that understanding, share that cultural, learn, be curious, you know, educate each other and ourselves, you know, bring everyone along together. Cece, what's your vision?
I mean, it's kind of seconding what Sergio's saying here. It's that music has always been a universal language. No matter if you're singing in your native tongue or not, it's, again, going back to that feeling, it's an emotional connection that you're creating with people. And I think, using instrumentation and influences and beats from different cultures and incorporating it in your own music and also into your own playlist, listening to different genres from all over the world is going to help unify us and understand each other on different levels.
And one last question. Is there a film or music video that you think people should watch or has made an impact on you personally?
Well, I'm going to go back to the 90s.
Woo!
I think it's the 90s. Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann, for me, had one of the most impactful soundtracks still to this day. It takes you through so many emotional journeys with the songs and the artists that are on there. You've got like Crush by Garbage, which is just this song about obsession and love and crazy, psychotic love. Then you have the artists on this album are amazing. So you've got Radiohead, you've got Portishead, you've got Desiree Kissing You, which is one of the most incredible
Oh my God, I love it.
songs of all time from a movie. Just if you haven't gone and listened to it, it takes you on a musical journey about love, and it really marries the story of Romeo and Juliet. For me, it's just one of the best curations from a movie soundtrack ever.
I'm going to go and watch it again and listen to the soundtrack because I always had Young Hearts Run Free.
Exactly. Candy Stanton on there about like celebrating yourself and your love and your freedom. Like it takes you through all the feelings that you feel when you get into a relationship, maybe one that you shouldn't be in, but it takes you through everything. And it's so clever if you think about the album, the soundtrack as a relationship, you'll get it.
I love it. Sergio, do you have any films or music clips that you'd love to share? No?
No.
Well, we'll all listen to Romeo and Juliet.
Well, actually, because Cece and I were out at an event not too long ago, and we were in the subway, and we were actually talking about this song from Romeo and Juliet. And we instantly, okay, maybe a bit intoxicated, but we instantly duetted Desiree's "Missing You." So it was even that song also instantly brought me back to that movie, but not only to the movie, but to how I felt in that period, when that movie came out as well. So music connects, yay.
Yes, I love it. I mean, I was really emotional when I saw a film called Young Soul Rebels by Isaac Julian, and it's based in London, so again I have a connection to it, and it's in the summer of 1977, and the soundtrack is punk, soul, funk. I used to love Garbage actually, and Radiohead. I was a proper emo kid, but there's a pair of radio DJs, and without giving it all away, because I think everyone should watch it, it's a must watch. It tells the lives of the community at the time, so social and sexual tensions around being black, about being gay, and it's got an amazing soundtrack, so it was really a beautiful film to me, so I think everyone should watch that as well. We are in our quick fire round. I would love to hear top 3 tips from each of you. It could be about music, or it could be about anything that's made a difference in your life, any obstacles that you've overcome. I would love to share them with our listeners.
Well, I mean, yeah, generally speaking, trust your gut. I know that's always said, but it's something different, to really live by, due to insecurities, life's factors that, come into play. But it always comes down to me. To me, it always comes down to really trust your gut. Be honest, not only to others, but also to yourself. And just don't be an ass.
Don't be an ass.
Don't be an ass.
I love it. Yes.
That leads on to my first one. Leave your ego at the door. I think I've said this a few times before, but for me, your ego is like a road blocker for, collaboration. And with collaboration, you then get innovation, and innovation is the thought process for change. They all tie into each other. And then I would say there's this quote that I spoke to you about, Maxine, a while ago. when I heard it, I was like, this is me every day trying to overcome my own fears. And it's thinking does not overcome fear, but action does. And I'm trying to force myself to do more things that I'm fearful of. And then in the end, actually, it's all okay. It's all okay. It all works out. So grab life by the balls and just go for it.
Yes, I love that. I'm going to put those into practice. You know, I often ask myself, who am I today? And I think you said that earlier, Sergio, you know, like remove that fear, go into things curious and stay, you know, in your creative process. So I'd love to thank you both so much for being part of this conversation today.
Thank you for
Maxine.
having us.
Yes, of course. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've really enjoyed it. We're releasing a monthly podcast where we share our stories and insights on various topics like listening, so how to listen and not compare yourself to the person you're speaking to, self-preservation, survival versus thriving, discrimination and sustainability, and much more. And remember, if you understand yourself, you understand the world. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.